glanced through them yet?
I've read most of the first one a long time ago, but
yeah, but it was the censored version.
Yeah.
that we learned recently.
Yes.
Well, shit.
You want to give it a shot?
Oh god, I'll try.
I got diminishing returns now.
Okay, here I go. I don't know if my what's the word? My reaction times are what they used to be. I used to be real good at this. It's harder to do when you can't just smash the button with your whole hand.
Yeah. I also found most of the time in this scenario, just holding the button too is fast enough.
Oh. I saw you like down there just like spamming it. So.
Yeah, it's just force of habit. But just when you're just shooting at the big crowd, I still like the spam when they're all kind of flying past the screen because I think you can get more in general. But when it's just you're aimlessly shooting into the crowd, it's easy just to hold the button.
Oh, you dirty little thing. It's the moths on the front porch! Oh, man.
Turn the light on, me.
Oh, you still had 2 hits.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, rude. Okay. Oh, God, that was awful. Oh, I was in the wrong
Hello,
spot.
party people. How are we doing today? Mind explode. Yes, as promised. Many unexpected things have happened today. I did not expect to be doing chores in the morning only to get the notification that we had somehow dinged affiliate. I was looking at the numbers last night. I was like, okay, maybe like another month, 6 weeks would be reasonable. Not 12 hours. But here we are. So we are affiliate now, which means a couple of things. One, as promised, AJ, you are officially a moderator. You have the power as denoted by the sword in front of your name. Yeah. Oh, Panda, welcome in. Zephyrine, welcome in. AJ Logan, as usual, welcome in. Yes. Time to go mad with power. I trust your judgment, AJ. Okay, so I have been trying to learn as best I can very quickly today all about all of the things that happen when you are an affiliate on Twitch. Here's the big one I want to talk about. Looks like ads are mandatory on your streams. So here is what I have done. If you are subscribed, you will not see any ads. When able, given like if the ad works with that kind of thing, it's going to do a punch out like a picture in picture, so you're not going to miss any of the stream when able. It's going to camera. Now's not the time. It's going to yeah, there we go. It's going to do the picture in picture so you don't actually miss stream. I have the ad frequency set to the lowest possible to keep up. There's 2 tiers of like, are you like actually getting a reasonable percentage of your time versus like we'll toss you a penny. So the minimum upper threshold is 3 minutes per hour, which means 2 90-second ads. That's what I've got it set at. That also means no pre-stream or post-stream ads that are mandatory, which I think is good. I also have the ability, I've got the quick buttons set up over on this monitor, so if you see me looking this way going, and fumbling for the mouse, I've got it set up so I can see when the ads are coming, and I can delay them by 5 minutes, or I can crack them off early. Where's my ads manager? There we go. So at the 30-minute mark, 1 hour mark, 1:30, 2 hour, we should see some ads. This ad starts in 25 minutes, 57 seconds. Okay, usually not horrific. I love it. the way this particular stream is structured, I am going to have to get up and down from the desk repeatedly. So in those moments, like especially one, I have to pull cables and junction a different device in. So I'm gonna try to kick an ad off in that in that interim to kind of like buy us some time. One very important thing I would like to people who are not subbed to this channel to report in the chat is what are the ads you're seeing? Because I don't know what Twitch's policy is on who and who cannot advertise on their platform, but I know that Spotify does not seem to give a single flying fig, and you will often be served up with some real upsetting political ads or some ads for like ICE is saving the world. Is this off the screen ever so slight? Can't take me anywhere nice. There we go. Welcome back. Just so if you could, like Panda, if you're able to, Zephyrine, anybody else that comes in, if we could just do a team effort here and just like let people know, like, yeah, if you're seeing an ad, just type it in the chat or whatever. I don't know that everybody's getting the same ads. It may be based on your preferences, which is probably what it is. That's how YouTube does it, and most other services that have video. So we just want to make sure that we're not serving up ads. I did not have time to look into any kind of like ad content management stuff today. Couldn't find it if it exists, which does lead me to believe that it is based on you personally, your device, what stalker ads and stuff you have. But if we could just do a good job of that, I would appreciate it very much. In newsroom, I want the transatlantic accent, Panda, please and thank you. This just in off the wire. We did get last night the delightful transatlantic phrase, nocturnal deliveries. Delightful. Okay, so we did it. We got there. Welcome in. Oh my god, we have to unfortunately start this momentous stream with garbage. Garbage. Haven't seen any political ads. Yeah, everything's gambling. I don't think we can escape the gambling at this point in time. Yeah, that's just the we pay extra to brute force through the algorithm. Yep. So before we begin, I want to address the fact that we are about to see not a porn game, but an over-sexualized game. So I want to talk very briefly, checking my notes, affiliate, I want to talk about Team Ninja. Team Ninja made the game Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. Team Ninja had a tear in the early to mid-2000s up through like the mid-20-teens. Jiggle physics, yep. Zeffy had mentioned to John Criminy in the chat when he's around. There's like, oh yeah, no, they're doing this thing that's like a boob physics game, and he's like, oh, Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball? Like, yeah, this game is notorious. So, Team Ninja. As a folklorist, I love anyone who has a controversy section on their Wikipedia page, and Team Ninja does have one of those. So Team Ninja made really excellent fighting games. They're a Japanese developer. They made Dead or Alive 1, 2, and 3 for the Xbox and those that generation of consoles. They they then made they spent money, like real money, developing a physics engine so they could perfect the boob jiggle. You'll see it over my besides Krang on. You'll see it over my shoulder here. Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, front and center, boobs. So that's going to be happening. Yeah. So we're going to play a little bit of it. We're going to see what it was about, and then we're going to move on to the real topic of tonight, because we did what we said we set out to do, and we hit that follower goal. Now, we have also hit affiliate, so it does feel like I need to spin the wheel again, but I've got to add a new 8th slot to the wheel to make it fair. This does mean we get to play with the original Xbox. The original Xbox features something I don't often get to talk about. So, when the original Xbox dropped, it had 10 launch titles. This was holiday 2001. I remember it because it was my freshman year of college. Ah! Oh, right. Yes, Zeffy, thank you. Sorry, I'm so bad. I've been chastised by the mod on this as well for not advertising well enough, and I do need to get better. I did let people know we made affiliate in the Discord, so that's good. Anyway, Xbox launches holiday 2001, and it has games that are fine for the most part. The obligatory sports game, a racing game, an adventure game. I believe it was Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. And they had this game that nobody had heard of called Halo. And if it weren't for Halo, the Xbox would have gone the way of the Dreamcast, and Sega would still be here making abominations. So Xbox killed the love in my heart. However, Microsoft does not often respond well to feedback. In fact, they like to hear the feedback and go, "We hear you, we hear you," and then drop that feedback into the trash can, turn around, and walk away. This is the one single instance I can ever remember as someone, Cameron, no, okay, we'll just leave it for a minute because I'm going to be talking with my hands. The one single instance that I can call to mind of Microsoft actually responding to feedback hella fast, like even at all, but also crazy fast, because their console sales were okay, and the rate at which they responded to this feedback makes me believe they were not good internally. They're like, "Oh man, we'd love to buy an Xbox and play Halo because this game is revolutionary, but this controller. I guess I'll just play on my friend, or I'll buy a third-party controller and play at my friend's house on his or her Xbox, whatever." And they were like, "Oh god." So I'll show you the Xbox controller in a moment, but like within, I don't have the exact number on this one, but it felt like almost immediately after launch, they released a second wave of consoles that came with a different style controller. This is known as the S controller, and it looks a whole lot like an Xbox 360 controller or an Xbox One controller or an Xbox Series S/X controller. Did I say that right? That's the new series of two different single-generation consoles Microsoft makes. But we really have the fundamentals here. Okay, up here. Okay. Uppies, baby, uppies. I'm an affiliate. But this really has the look and feel. You got the D-pad, the sticks here. You got your cross pattern buttons, like a very, very geometric. These buttons over here would move to the standard PlayStation, Nintendo configuration here. The white and the black buttons would go away. Also, fun fact: this controller had the Dreamcast style memory card ports in the top of the controller. How fun is that? You could also put different peripherals in there, like the Dreamcast. So they saw the greatness that was the Dreamcast, which is my favorite console of all time, and I will not take any feedback on that. I know I'm right. So I tell you about the S controller to tell you this. That got me thinking about controllers, because I was like, I have to talk about the Xbox. What's unique about the Xbox? The third best controller of all time is the Sega Dreamcast controller. This thing, it doesn't have that angular grip that S controller I just showed you has. These handles just go up and down. And for whatever reason, like the palms kind of cock under, and the Nightmare Cast, AJ, can you put Logan on some sort of timeout, or I don't know, light him on, you're in the room with him maybe, or in the same domicile, can you just bop him with something soft? I don't want to hurt him. But it kind of causes the wrist to come back a little bit, and it does feel good on an aging wrist especially. You got your triggers, you got your 4 buttons, your D-pad, your 1 thumbstick, and your start button. And goodbye, Logan. Goodbye. Also, the memory card, the VMU, has a little screen, and you can actually pop this out, and you can play video games on it. The Dreamcast was the best system. Is he banned from watching, or is he just out of the chat? I don't know how any of this works. And Nippy Bean, welcome in. And the only reason I say this is number 3, because I do love the way this feels, like the plastic, everything. I untimed him up. Very good, very good. Is because look where the cord is. It is facing the player. Hate it. Microsoft, to their credit, and it does hurt me to say this, whoops, that's the Allen wrench, did get the cable facing the console. Logan, yes, you have one job and you're doing it well. Otherwise, I think the Dreamcast would be, in my opinion, the best feeling controller. Number 2, the GameCube controller. This little guy, like, it has the alignment of the PlayStation controller that has basically remained unchanged from PS1 to through PS4. Now there's a boomerang for PS5. I don't understand it. But it has that feel, but it's chunky as hell for my fat American sausages. So I can just grab this thing. It's heavy. It feels substantial. I love it. And listen to this button action. It feels like I'm actually clicking the buttons. Also, the C-stick, you can flick it different directions, and it's super snappy and responsive. A beautiful design. Whatever, you get the idea. Anyway. And again, I tell you all of these things to tell you that my favorite controller of all time, the best feel. Yes, agreed. Everybody agrees with the GameCube. Yes, thank you. My favorite feeling controller of all time is the original controller that launched with the first wave of Xboxes, otherwise known as the Duke. Look at the size of this fucking monstrosity. It is wider than my adult head. It is huge. I look like a child holding this thing. It's something about the alignment of these buttons. You can be on all 4 buttons at the same time, but with enough space to actually hit the one you want to, and the buttons are responsive enough that you're not double hitting buttons. I don't know how to describe it. It just feels good. Microsoft ignoring the fact that women and children play. Microsoft ignoring the fact that anyone but adult white Americans play. Gross. One other fun feature. This is true of both the S controller and the Duke. I thought this was the greatest advancement in video game technology because we're talking about corded controllers. This is the Wayback Machine. This is the part that plugs into the Xbox, and right here, it's breakaway. So if I don't know how many of you remember playing, camera, screw it, we're rolling with it. I don't remember how many of you remember playing with the corded controllers and somebody would trip over or step on a controller. These just break away. They don't rip the controller out. They don't break the controller. They don't pull the console off the shelf. I thought this was one of the most ingenious controller designs. Let's just zoom out a little bit. There we go. I had ever seen. So kudos to that. Okay, how far in are we? We got time. All right, so I am going to kick over to gameplay, and I've elected to not leave my console on by design. I want to give everybody a little bit of nostalgia as I boot up this. And again, this console is absurdly bad. This console weighs about 20 pounds. I want you to visualize a 20-pound weight and then make it this wide. It's actually wider than the frame. I have to come back. It's like this wide. You were watching that pour? Well, too bad. So I'm going to boot it up, and anybody that remembers the original Xbox or the late 90s, early 2000s can just imagine Mountain Dew. It's thinking about it. Look at this pseudo-holographic display. I'm going to let this thing keep thinking it's 2001, so it still feels some amount of threat from the market. That's right, the Xbox also had an MP3 player built in. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh, God. Is there anything stored on here? Not a single thing. Hey, you leave the Zune alone. You leave the Zune alone. I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they had Zunes that you could listen to things to as part of their exhibits. Oh, camera. Daddy's got to step away for a minute, so I need you to be patient. Yeah, the Zune was actually a quality device. They just got outgamed by Apple, straight up. Okay, I'm going to leave the manual back here so I can share with you some things as we go. But it's go time. I wish I could have shared how loud that disc tray drawer was with you all. A SanDisk MP3 player. Good for you. Time to have a console, Mike. Oh my god, there's still things saved on here. What? This can't all have been mine. No, this must have been the previous owner from, I don't know, 15 years ago when I bought this thing? What? How do we... Okay, okay. I should have done a little more pre-work. Yes, I do remember when memory was in blocks. Thanks, PlayStation 2. Ooh, parental control. What else do we... We don't need any of that. Let me just restart with the game in and see what happens. Oh no, I hope my laser's not bad. There we go. Problem solved. Anyway, I was talking about Team Ninja's controversies. Oh god, I hope we don't get a copyright strike. Okay, we're out of here. Straight up out of here. So that's that. All right, that is just that. And that is, we have paid the price of meeting a goal. So congratulations, everyone. We spun the wheel, we played the game. Let's have a quick look before we're done with this mess at the manual. Now, if you open it, you might expect to see your basic health and safety warnings. You might expect to see lots of things. Dating profiles? First thing you see. Scandalous, sort of like model pictures. Way more information than they even had in the bios in the game. We got blood type. That's a very Japanese game thing. Likes, favorite colors, favorite foods, hobbies, body size, like the 3 lady dimensions: bust, waist, and hips. Ooh, yeah. It's and then there's just pictures like this, just a crotch shot. So it's this manual is thick too. It's 45 pages. Oh, nicely done, AJ. Nicely done. Sniped him. Does it have the age this time? It has the same age information as we saw in the game. So take that for what it's worth. Okay, I'm going to rip off a quick ad while I change over my cables to get ahead of the ads. I'll be right back. Except unless you're subbed. Yeah, don't it? Yeah, so Criminy, I don't know if you caught the very beginning of the game. We were scrolling through the profiles. 2 of the characters' ages were unavailable. World of Warcraft, that's okay. We'll take that. Okay, cool. And I'm seeing in the ad manager that did delay our ad by a half hour. So this is going to work. This is going to work. Yes, look at the ads. We need the money. Oh, I don't know why I'm holding the controller. I don't even have a game in yet. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed. It looks like a lot of World of Warcraft ads. So that's okay. We're okay with that. Okay. So I want to talk to you about an interesting period in the NES lifecycle, and that is specifically concerning unlicensed games. This will likely be the first of several of these streams like this that we do. I just want to talk about a few of the easy topics when it comes to unlicensed NES games. So we have to talk about the years leading up to the release of the NES to really give us the picture of what Nintendo was dealing with. So, if you'll notice over my, over my shoulder here, that is an Atari 2600. That was the home console. This thing was a juggernaut.
This place is hell.
Hey, thanks, Criminy. Welcome aboard. And you got a little Zephyrine soundbite talking about what it's like here. Or Duck Detective, more specifically. The Atari was a juggernaut. They were the choice for home console. They were going up against like Intellivision, ColecoVision. But thank you for rectifying your crimes. Oh, and you get a little crown. How cute is that? But if you were doing home games, you were doing Atari. And game developers really noticed this. Activision was a big developer for Atari that was made up of developers who left Atari in the late 70s because Nolan Bushnell is a mad god that is very difficult to work for, according to most accounts. Also, most accounts of working at Chuck E. Cheese, of which he was also the founder. Yikes. The problem with Atari is that they were pure American cocaine 80s business. Money, 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 money. They were, like, one of their biggest hits. This game, Pac-Man, not this particular version of the game, but Pac-Man was such a pop culture icon. There were R&B songs, hip-hop songs about it that were, like, #1 in the country. Not just for a week, but for a while. Pac-Man was it. Pac-Man Fever by, was it Rick James, I think? They couldn't even port that was their game. It was a Namco game on Atari, but like it was an Atari game. They couldn't even port their own game correctly to Atari. They were trying to jam it out so fast. If you play the 2600 version of Pac-Man on Atari, you are playing a yellow football. He's not even round. He's one shape. Come on. So that's the kind of decisions they were making. But they were still the juggernaut in the home game market. in addition to the big publishers for Atari, lots of other smaller game development studios went, well, if we want to sell games at market price, let's make them for Atari. The people will buy them. There was such a deluge, the Hey Arnold of video games, yikes. There was such a deluge of games on the Atari that were like, like what we would now call like first party developers, that like there was an equal amount of just everybody else. And it was impossible for consumers, like it's like 81, 82. It would be impossible for consumers to figure out what's a good game, what's a good developer, what's a good studio. You just had the cover art to go on, or a name if it was familiar, like Pac-Man. 1982 saw the release of the movie. Some of you know where I'm going with this. The movie E.T. Great opportunity for a movie tie-in. Steven Spielberg, still to this day, loves video games and loves the idea of tying movies into video games. He produced one of the best games on the Wii, Boom Blocks. It's a party game for kids. I love it. It's super fun. But he retained the game rights for any games that would be made of E.T. So, conversations get started in July of 1982. They're like, let's make an Atari game, because Atari's the console, right? In September of 1982, they're still talking about it. And developer, oh shoot, I forget his name. I just looked him up recently. Somebody can Google him, but he's the one guy made the E.T. game. He was flown out. He was like, he was really like a really experienced developer for Atari. He made Raiders of the Lost Ark. He spent 6 months on Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's really, it pushes the boundaries of an Atari game, but it's still an Atari game, so it's super obtuse and confusing. But he spent 6 months on that. So they're like, this guy's good. And he even said, yeah, like I can work fast, because it's the 80s. I'm not saying he was using drugs, but he was like, I can crunch it. He made this game, like, because early September, this has to be out by holiday, because the holiday season for selling video games or toys or whatever, some things never change, right? When it got down to like, you work from like the date it has to ship backwards, one guy made E.T. for the Atari's 2600 in 35 days. 35 days, one man. The fact that this game even exists is a miracle, but it is also considered one of the worst video games ever. Yeah, there you go. One of the worst video games ever made. Goodbye. It's honestly not terrible. It's not good. There are many worse games, but because it was pushed so hard, the marketing budget was insane, Atari made more copies of E.T. than existed Atari consoles, period. Bad business decision. That was a dramatic and good zoom. Good call, chat. So, like, I don't know how you're going to sell more copies of a game than even exists the console to play them on. And obviously, neither did Atari. Some games have volleyball. So, it was such an obtuse, confusing turd that there were like news stories of the games being returned en masse to stores like after the holidays. So like retail calendar years usually close in like February. That's to kind of like account for the holiday sales, and then the die off in January, February, and then the sell off of like excess inventory up until February. So like Atari was like, sales were like, then the holidays hit and they're like, and they start going down, and they're like, normal business cycle. And then March and April, and they continued to crater month over month. E.T. was the straw that broke the camel's back. And that was the summer of 1983, when Atari finally blew up the video game market in North America. You know what else happened in the summer of 1983? A small Japanese trading card company had made a huge investment in themselves and a huge pivot into making video games. And they were in the middle of releasing the Famicom in Japan. The Famicom is just the name for the NES in Japan. There's 3 different versions of the NES based on region. There's the PAL version that Europe and other countries outside of North America got. There's the Japanese version called the Famicom, and then there's the NES, which is what we know as the Nintendo in North America. So Nintendo is a very conservative company in many ways. So for them to take this risk from playing cards to video games was huge. And they're releasing their huge risk as Atari is exploding. Consumer trust is lost. Let's stop that camera from moving. Consumer trust is lost in North America. Nintendo's banking on North America being a huge market for them. And Europe is sort of in between, just kind of like, I don't know. Like, they got the ZX Spectrum. What other don't worry about what other cards, Logan. We're not going to talk about that. Don't worry about it. So Nintendo's like, okay. They genuinely did a post-mortem on Atari's insane cocaine. Logan, I will sick the mods on you. Nintendo like genuinely did a post-mortem on Atari's behavior leading up to it, their performance, and like took a step back. And they're like, okay. Famicom is like, it's doing okay in Japan. It's doing okay. They're not like hemorrhaging money, but they stop their Western release. They're like, okay, let's just pause this whole thing. I'm just gonna let the camera ride because I'm gonna be talking with my hands for a few minutes here. So they're like, how do we stop just anybody from making games for the NES? You can come in a little bit, camera. One of these days I'll master these controls. No? I'll do it manually. There we go. So they came up with this lockout chip that basically it's looking for jail. It's looking for a chip inside an NES cartridge to tell it, I'm an NES cartridge, you can play me. Because they didn't want the third-party madness that really eroded consumer quality on the Atari. So at the end of 1985, Nintendo redesigns the console. They take it from being like a burgundy and beige thing that has like a microphone and hardwired controllers, and they make what we all know as the classic NES. It looks like a VCR by design. That is the Western release. It's supposed to look like a VCR, something people are comfortable with having under their TVs, something they just won't even bat an eye at being there. Like, they went to great lengths, Nintendo did, to ensure this Western release was good. And, you know, the design, we can talk a lot about the design and stuff, but it was mostly the games, and that's where we want to focus here. This lockout chip. Now, where's my spreadsheet? There are, at my best accounting, open up my, everybody needs a good spreadsheet. Dynamic action here. By my best accounting, there are 175 unlicensed games for the NES in North America. Proper streams have spreadsheets. Well, I'd like to believe we're doing proper work here and we have spreadsheets for this. So 175 of these turds trickled through. And you compare that to the total licensed NES catalog, which is just under 700 games, like 680 something games, 670 something games, depending on whether you count. There's like a handful of things that are like debatable, like, you know, stadium events, the World Championship games, stuff like that. So that's, I mean, it's not the hundreds of % of licensed games that like Atari would have seen if they had a licensing process, but it's still not a small percentage. It's a pretty decent chunk. Most of these third-party systems got around the lockout chip by sort of overloading the lockout chip by just like kind of making a loop, like a circuit in there, and like kind of like overloading the juice going into it. And then the lockout chip was like, I don't know, and it would just play. It was possible to damage the NES by doing this, which made some of the more sophisticated developers wary. Now, there isn't a game. There is a game that I would love to get my hands on someday. I don't have a copy, and to my knowledge, it is the only unlicensed NES game that has a clear shell, so you can see the shame inside. Called Action 52. It is 52 games in one, and apparently, this is a game that didn't dial its override of the lockout chip in correctly, and it does smell like burning plastic if you play it for more than an hour. Hilarious. Aw, you redeemed some whatever the bubbles are for those channel points? I don't know. I gotta learn this stuff. Look at your goofy face. Adorable, Logan. Adorable. So, the first company we're going to talk about today is a company that Nintendo and Nintendo mostly left these companies alone. Mostly left these companies alone. And this is one that they did leave alone. This is a game by, yep, perfect. This is a game by Camerica in their Quattro series called Quattro Adventure. And you'll notice the gold cartridge. The gold cartridge was very common. All right, I gotta stop the camera and then I gotta zoom it in because I gotta show you something. I need you to turn green for me, bud. Thank you. The gold cartridge was really popular with unlicensed games, walk into my face, because The Legend of Zelda existed, and they wanted something that was going to pop on the shelves. So on the back, we actually have a switch inside the back, and I'll read you what the sticker says. It says, Position B, use only if this position if game does not work in Position A, and then Position A. The reason for that is the top-loading NESs, which came later, had a more sophisticated lockout chip, so they had to adjust the amount of juice going in up to bypass the top loader. So I'm going to go slap this bad boy in, and we're going to play Quattro Adventure. Camerica was an interesting company. They made a lot of these 4-in-1 games, Quattro Sports, Quattro Arcade. This one I happened to pick up at the Detroit Retro Game Show recently, and it's something. All right, let's see if it actually connected. Nope. Bear with me. Bear with me. Behold the graphics. Bears. Okay. One thing I want to tell you about Camerica is that they had a mascot. Like Sonic the Hedgehog was the Genesis mascot, like Mario was the Nintendo mascot, they had a mascot. And I'd like you all to guess which of these four characters of these four games is the mascot. Absolutely brilliant. Bubble trouble. Okay, that's as high as we can jump. We gotta ride the bubbles. The bigger the bubbles are, the higher up you go. And we will eventually drown. That is my experience with this game. Are we having a fun adventure, gang? I don't know if I got that item or not, or if it just flew away. Oh, it's no Bubble Bobble, I'll tell you that. Did I take damage there? Not sure what happened. Rip. Yeah, the music is okay. So, like, Camerica, I would call them the mad scientists of unlicensed NES games, which is largely why Nintendo left them alone, because they made these Quattro game packages for other systems. They made them for the Atari, they made them for the Amiga CD32, they're just kind of like, and they're just sort of there. You know, they didn't have a great marketing push. They weren't selling hard to the major vendors. They were just kind of around. Nintendo was like, eh. So, like, they were mostly experimenting with how to, like, get 16 bits on an 8-bit system. And, like, they experimented with this, like, like, it was, like, 2 8-bit palette swaps that would just, like, blink. Which, you know that flicker effect you get on NES when there's, like, too much stuff on the screen? They were kind of doing that by design with 2 different color palettes to give, like, the perspective of, like, 16 bits over 8 bits. Where I guess they were just, like, filling in, like, cracks of... Never know when a bubble's coming. Just filling in cracks of detail. And they were trying to make a Hellraiser game. And, like, they even licensed Hellraiser. But, like, they just couldn't get the technology to work. I love this. No way out. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I gotta go hit reset. And by hit reset... Oh, shit. That was on me. I power cycled too fast. If you power cycle too fast on these cartridges that have the switch to bypass the lockout, you will, the game won't go, because it won't have reset its charge to bypass the lockout. Good stuff. Another thing Capmerica did, Camerica did, which, and you'll see a lot of these games are like Codemasters games. They're going to be relevant as we continue this discussion. Another thing Camerica developed, playing Robin Hood, baby, was an add-on. Oh, look at that 2-stage crouch. So slow. Okay, we gotta jump. Ow, my... Ow. Okay. Wow, the shoot is so slow. They developed an add-on kind of like the Game Genie right behind me that games would slot into, and then the device would slot into the NES, called the Aladdin Deck Enhancer. And they partnered with Codemasters to make that. Codemasters handled a lot of the software of it, though there were a lot of real Camerica-style games on it. What do controls do? Oh my god, the shooting is so delayed. Yeah, we got him. Reduced to stars. We're all Stardust, friend. Gun it. Oh, my biscuits. The Aladdin Deck Enhancer was kind of, think of like the 32X on the Sega Genesis. It was like an actual RAM expander. So like at the end of, it was the that was fantastic. The last thing Camerica did was develop the Aladdin Deck Enhancer and make it, but not sell it, because they went out of business before they could like get it to market. So they exist, but they were never sold at retail. And there's only 6 games for them. 2 of those 6 games are different games that feature the mascot character that we have yet to identify. One of them is a Codemasters game that's also an unlicensed game for the NES, featuring licensing from Galoob. Galoob is the company that made the Game Genie. Can anybody... Pure skill. Can anybody wager a guess of what that game might be? Galoob, what was hot in the 90s that Galoob also made in addition to the Game Genie? I'll give you a minute to noodle on it. This music's a real bop. No guesses? No, Zephyrin, you know I told you about this. How does this work? It's not GAC. Guess that'd be a Nintendo property? Oh, jeez. Oops. Oh, yeah. These controls are not great. Ugh. That two-stage crouch is brutal. It is, in fact, Micro Machines. And I was stunned as an adult to learn that Micro Machines... Surge, no. I was stunned to learn that the Micro Machines NES game was an unlicensed game, because I rented it several times from the local video store. Blew my... Oh, the ground wiggler got me. The other problem with the Aladdin Deck Enhancer, which, at least to Sega's credit, like, the Genesis games for the 32X, yeah, a floor drill, why not? Remember from Robin Hood, the floor drill that killed Little John? At least to Sega's credit, when the floor wiggler, when they made the 32X, jeez, oh Pete's. Wall eyes? Booger snakes from Stardew Valley, yeah. The Genesis cartridges, the 32X cartridges, they were all the same shape and size. Not the Aladdin Deck Enhancer cartridges, they were smaller. Oh god, I've never been this far in Robin Hood. We're gaming now. Can't, at least I can, oh yeah. Oh, we're platforming. Oh, it's a heart, we want that. So, Camerica was really just trying, like, experimental stuff and largely not even making games. They were trying to make games and then not making them. So I can't go down there. Okay, that's cool. I love that for me. Greased chain. Okay, let me go be patient while I reset the NES. Hopefully I didn't blow anything up. Okay. The other major problem... Yeah, that's a Twitch ad. The other major problem with the Aladdin Deck Enhancer, again, probably a good thing it never hit retail, is that the way it was bypassing the lockout chip would fry a top loader. So there's the regular VCR style... The Dreamtime. There's the regular VCR style NES, but there's also a top loader NES, and which is like the second gen NES, and if you try to put the Aladdin Dream Enhancer into the top loader, it'll just fry the NES. I fell too far. Yes, everybody listen to AJ. AJ is wise. Look how he's just clapping his hands on his pant pockets. Oh man, I truly despise games that kill you for falling too far. No, not fall damage. Well, I guess, yeah, fall damage. I have 1 hit point. I guess I'll go forward? Dead. This. I was worried I was gonna die. How far is too far? Oh no. Nope. Don't jump down. Oh. Oh my lord. This is like a puzzle game. It's just the how do I not kill myself the game. Crikey. Dead. That's life, baby. You are not wrong. Well, that's the game. Boomerang Kid. And finally, we have Treasure Island Dizzy. I mean, yeah, in my dotage, fall damage from taking a step too far is bad. Okay. We have nothing, nothing, and nothing in our inventory. I have a large rock. This game is more like an adventure game, like a traditional point-and-click adventure game. Okay, so I just have the money now. Good. I fell too far. I am an egg. That was fall damage, y'all. Game over, 1 life. Let's try going to the right. I drown. 1 life. So I ask you, which of these 4 characters was the mascot for Comerica? We have Boomerang Kid, Super Robin Hood, Dizzy the Egg, and Linus Spacehead. The egg, the Boomerang Kid, the egg, the egg. Dang, chat. It was Dizzy the Egg. 2 of the 6 Aladdin Deck Enhancer games were Dizzy 2 and Dizzy 3. Yikes. Okay, let's talk briefly, checking the time, let's talk briefly about Color Dreams. Now, you may notice this was also a popular color, some combination of baby blue or like weird teal. These were very popular colors in unlicensed Nintendo games. That was to make them pop, but also they were the cheapest colors to mold at the time. Just stay there. So this is the only Color Dreams game I currently have. There's a lot of games that like this was a studio with talented developers. The problem with Color Dreams, and they are one of the studios that Nintendo went after. The problem with Color Dreams and their like developers who could actually make games that worked and were decent to play was that their business model was shovelware. So Nintendo had a cap with the quality seal. Like any developer that they gave the blessing to, Nintendo was like, okay, cool. Here is the technology to put, whatever, to work around the, here's what you need to know, basically, to get around the lockout chip. You give us the code, we make the cartridges, we make the boards, we produce them, and we ship them. You can make no more than 5 games a year. No alterations to the plan. That's it. That's all we can do. Camera. Thank you. So Color Dreams was like, we would like to sell a lot more games than that. So they'd put talented people on making the games and then just ship them. So the game we have to play today is Captain Comic The Adventure by Color Dreams. Hopefully this one works. Again, Color Dreams shovelware. The boards do have a bad habit of being loose inside the casing. So, okay, we're good. So, 1989, like, this actually looks pretty decent. Yeah, we got some effects. We're a spaceman. Looks like a standard, standard lack of quality control. I would call this developer difficulty. This is just way too much at once. The start of level 1. I don't even have a weapon. All I can do is jump and not touch things. But I will say, oh boy, the controls do feel. Oh, there we got a gun now. The controls actually do feel pretty like tight, within reason. You're a little floaty, but you can float jump. It's not like that static bad jump, where like once you jump, you're committed to the trajectory and speed. So like it's kind of okay. So when I say that Nintendo actually kind of went after Color Dreams, they saw that they were just shoveling garbage out, trying to capitalize on Nintendo's success, or on the NES's success in North America. So they were like, oops, that was on me. Operator error. They didn't go after Color Dreams directly. They just told their major retailers in the US, they're like, okay, if you would like to be able to order more games from us or hardware, or it's a little kind of ice physics on the ground there a little bit. If you want to be able to order anything from us to sell ever again, you need to stop selling Color Dream games. And the major retailers, think your Toys R Us's and your Children's Palace, KB Toys, they were like, ha 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 ha, we would like to continue to print money with this NES, please. Kmart, yep, definitely. So Color Dreams very, very quickly receded into the background for a while. But they would not take defeat lying down, because they knew how to make decent games, passable games. They're not making Dizzy the damn egg that can't breathe underwater, or jump a regular jump without dying. That I will say that never ceases to make me laugh. That just if you just jump straight on a flat surface, you've fallen too far to survive. They're not making that. They're making games that are like, this it's 89. This is maybe you slow down the enemies a little bit. Maybe you have too many enemies on the screens at the same time, but that's a problem for QA, which we did not bother to do, or have, or pay for. They'll be back, though. They'll be back. I don't want to waste too much time on this particular game. So, it's basically this. You're a spaceman and you collect stuff, and if you put some time into it, you get better at it, and it's okay. That's really all I have to say. So I'll be right back. Actually, we got an ad coming up. I'm going to take a second. I'm going to kick an ad off to delay it. Logan, Ghouls and Ghosts. That was Capcom. Purveyors of your Mega's Man. In our Fighters of Streets. Yep, Street Fighter 2010 is a real departure from its successor, Street Fighter 2. If you ever have an opportunity to torture yourself with a game, I suggest Street Fighter 2010, the original Street Fighter game. Nippy Bean, yes. A WoW ad, we'll take that. We don't want to watch political ads. That's good. Thank you all for this feedback. It's very helpful. Looks like we'll be back in 5 seconds for everybody. Having ads is weird. Okay, welcome back, everybody who wasn't back previously. Red Lobster and TurboTax plus World of Warcraft. Okay, not bad. I once got lost in a Cheddar Bay biscuit. Okay, so the next developer I want to talk about. Good. Aw. The algorithm likes you, Nippy Bean. The next developer I want to talk about is a little studio by the name of Tengen. And they had these black cartridges with sort of like the slopey sides. Whoops. That had the name kind of like that. There was like 40 Tengen games. So like of that list of 175, 40 of them were Tengen. Tengen hit the market hard, and their games were good, which was a little confusing. So let me give you a little bit of history. Tengen were pretty good developers. They had a lot of experience. Criminy, slow your roll. We're going somewhere. So the games you probably have seen in the wild, Super Sprint, Rolling Thunder, these are pretty good games, actually. And Nintendo was watching these games come out. And, they saw the Comerica games and they're like, we're not going to worry about that. They saw Color Dreams shoveling things at the rate of insanity. And they were like, we got to do something about that. But then they start seeing titles like arcade hit RBI Baseball and Pac-Man. And they think, wait a minute. So they go full Scooby-Doo. And they're like, hey, Tengen, how do you have Gauntlet? How do you have Pac-Man? What's going on over there? Here's where we get to do a Super Friends. Meanwhile, at the Hall of Doom, Atari was figuring out, in their blazed cocaine business way, trying to figure out how to get back into the home video game market without calling themselves Atari. You might see where we're going with this, and you're only half right. So they're like, God. Okay, so Atari, the name comes from the Japanese game Go. They're like, okay, let's just make it real, like, Nintendo logic, Superpower, or Super Friends logic, like, who's the bad guy? So like, okay, how about Tengen? Another term from the board game Go. They were going back and forth with Nintendo for a while. And they're like, Atari was. And they're like, okay, we'd like to release video games on your system. We think we're out of the console market, knowing full well they were about to release the Atari 7800. It was already in production. That aside, we'd like to release games on your console. We have a long history of making great games, and, the market kind of got weird there, but that wasn't our fault. That had nothing to do with us. It was rogue developers, and we like the way you're doing your lockout chip. We like the way you're restricting to 5 games a year. But what if Atari didn't have to follow any of that? And Nintendo was like, no. And so these discussions were going on and on and on and on, but Atari still had investors that needed to see quarterly goals. They had release schedules. They had already told their investors X amount of games were coming out for the NES by a certain date, and that date was getting closer and closer and closer, and they could have done a Color Dreams. They could have done a Comerica Switch. They could have done a lot of things, but they're like, they had one moment of clarity where they're like, okay, we cannot override the lockout chip and risk damaging consoles. We have hemorrhaged too much money over the past several years. We got to figure out a galaxy brain solution to this. So put yourself in their shoes. A lot of pressure, a lot of money, deadlines, investors. We got to get this thing going. The games are basically done. What do? The only thing any sane, red-blooded American would do. You get the boys from Legal on the horn, and you give them the plan. The plan was to have the lawyers reach out to the U.S. Trademark Office and tell them that you need the specs to the NES patented lockout chip for pending future litigation so you can prepare your case. To which the U.S. Trademark Office said, that's normal for big companies, here you go. And then Legal said, thank you, we will include this in our briefings, and turned around, handed it to the developers and said, reverse engineer like your life depends on it. There are genuine NES chips in this, made by Tengen, because Atari's lawyers. Now, they did settle their disputes eventually, which is why you'll find things like RBI Baseball by Tengen and RBI Baseball by Tengen. One of these is not like the other. And the real difference is Tengen made this, I'm sorry, Atari made this one. And Nintendo made this one. So I'm not even going to show you the game I'm going to put in for Tengen. I'm just going to slap it in and we can all breathe a sigh of hilarity. Hopefully it works first try. Yeah, it was when this one hit the market that Nintendo went, what? Because it was Pac-Man. Straight up Pac-Man. Right? Atari Bonk. Thank you, AJ. You're such a good mod. I thought that was just eyeballs. Okay, we know what Pac-Man looks like. Camera. It looks like this. On a black cartridge. And now, I want you to bask in that story I just told you about Atari masquerading as Tengen. There's some legal shenanigans where technically they were different. Like Atari, after the game crash of this, split into two companies. Atari Games managed home console games, and they spun off another company called Tengen. So they owned Tengen wholly, but they were technically a different... Yes, everyone knows the orange one is named Clyde. Inky, Blinky, Jefferson, and Clyde. Winky, Linky, Pinky. Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde. So keep in mind that one company being like, oh god, how do we get around this Nintendo thing? Because we really got to make money. And just like, we'll just be a different company. Easy. Let us harken back a few minutes to our friends at Color Dreams, because they had a similar but very different solution. Because they actually had... Thank you. They actually had... Oh, it's Sue and Ms. Pac-Man. That's correct. Yes, that's correct. They actually had Nintendo be like, dramatic zoom. Let's see if we can make it work. There we go. Oh, just about. We got there. So they were scared because they were small. They didn't have Atari, I want to say, cocaine/money. So they're like, okay, we got to take this underground. What do we do? How do we rebrand? How do we get around this? And they were so, I don't know what happened inside of Color Dreams, but they took most of their library and just changed, like sprite swapped a lot of it. Just like Menace Beach was a game that's like actually pretty decent that they made. And then they just like turned into a different kind of game. I'm actually going to go pop this in real quick and turn it on, and then I'm going to do a reveal. Hopefully that works. Or else I'm going to look like Dizzy the Egg of Comerica fame. They're like, okay, so even anything coming from us as a supplier, like Toys R Us is not going to like put it on the shelves. Like, we had a howitzer fired across the bow, and we have liquidity of about $100. So where is the only refuge a company like Color Dreams could go to heal and grow and continue to churn out turds? a green screen. I'll be right back. For effect. Where is that place? A green screen. All right, screw it. That's right. Color Dreams, like Atari, adopted a pseudonym. In this case, Wisdom Tree. And they sold their games... Game? You still with me? I'm just going to put this version in because I know it works better. Or does it? It does. Got it. They sold their games exclusively in Christian bookstores. And that is it. Yeah, we did just playtest all of these, but they're cheap. So, my favorite thing, and one of the things that should be an immediate red flag to anybody playing games of this era, in terms of, like, how robust was the QA, is that when you turn the game on, and there's options, it doesn't start you on the first option. It starts you on the second option. So I say we start there. Baby Moses. Okay, it's some Bible verses. And here we have some very Super Mario Brothers 2. I am Moses' mother, and I'm carrying baby Moses. Sweet, sweet Lord. I assume the goal is to get baby Moses to the end. Oh, jeez. Don't make me... I will chuck him in the water. Oops. Probably on accident. Press down and A to jump down. In lieu of instructions, an actual useful tip. On accident, I got hit by a spider. I was scared. Oh! 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 Haven't lost any health yet. We're rolling. Stack them up. I think the tablets are lives. Oh, it briefly loaded a different level. What is this game? It's Super Mario 2 with baby Moses. Chuck him in the water. Ah! Pushing up on trees, cavern walls, and ladders allows you to climb. How big can we stack? Chat wants to know. Here's an easy first option, the baby. Give me something, game. Let's stack. Where's my baby? Oh, I landed on a cloud. God, I thought that was part of the background. Okay. I will say it's not a hard game, though it can be a frustrating game when you just run into stuff. The weird Egyptian imagery is a little strange. Yeah, jump pads, what's up? Can I pick this guy up? Can I catch the brick? I missed a commandment. I'm sure they're all kind of samey, right? Just don't be rude about it. God, Logan, you pedant. I will go back. Does this please you? Does my suffering please you? Whoops. He'll be fine. It's a Bible verse. Oh, there's a run. Yeah! 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 Oh, no, we don't need the bird. Oh, another one for you, Logan. It's just... Okay. Ow. Oh! Oh! Brutal Bible justice! Oh, God! Is the spider dead? Double brick. Okay, so you can take a lot of punishment. 1 life, that's it. At least this one lets you pick a different game, unlike Quattro Adventure, in which case you have to turn the power off for at least 5 seconds. Okay, David and Goliath, gotta be a fighting game, right? Got him. Just, like, no hesitation on the baby murder. Just like, bloop. Gather 4 sheep and bring them to the corral. Okay, yes, start. Oh, I can't wait to rotate my stack of objects. I think this will be a better game to investigate how many things we can carry at once. Squirrel knocked itself out. These squirrels are murdering each other. Please leave me alone. We'll come back for the commandment, I'm sure. Got the zoomies. Okay, this is David and Goliath. The story, very briefly, if I recall from many years of Catholic school, about a young slender man with a sling who kills a giant in an opposing army. Why is collecting sheep the game? No? No, that just drops them. How do we put them in? Up, down? That's not working. Throw them? Throw them! Great. Let's go! Oh, okay. One at a time, apparently. Even if you bring multiples, that's cool. Because King David was a shepherd before he killed the Titan. Okay, so this is just like the prequel. Well, you know how good the prequel Star Wars movies were. That is a... I know that... Nope. That's a spicy sheep. That's a George. That's a real ram. Got some screen tearing. Sign of a good game. Honey. I like the ba. It really works. It's good. One more ship. Yeah. Okay, same hint from the previous game. It did give me temporary immunity to lions? I'll take it. Ow. I just KO'd squirrel. Can I pick up the... Gimme. Okay. Ow, now he's... What a nightmare. What is happening here? Oh my god. Oh my god, squirrel homicides. There's several things so far. What else we got? Is that a groundhog? A bear? What? Double squirrel. We are rolling. Triple squirrel? Triple squirrel. Okay, so at least 3. We're good. Yeah, this is the 12 trials of Hercules here. 4. Good. No. Did throw that. Oh, God. I think they're waking up? I don't know. I don't know anything. Except how to climb trees. Oh, you can fast climb. That's it. Okay, learning. Bah. Yeah. And another Bible verse. Okay. Look at the legs on this guy. Never skips leg day. That squirrel was after my nuts. The biblical message is that your parents might feel okay about you playing these games. See you Tuesday, Nippy Bean. Thanks for coming in. Can I don't think I can die in this? I don't know what the health and or lives are for, but I haven't seen any way to die. So I'm just going to hit reset real quick. Okay, and the internet famous Noah's Ark. So here, I hit pause. Oh God, I don't know if the, okay, yep. So we have to collect male and female versions of all of these animals. If you lose all your commandments, you become an atheist and die. That's Arcana. Ow. Okay, that guy actually does. Ow. Please to don't. Honey, come on. Ugh, can't jump with the cow, huh? No kidding. Yes, pushing up climbs. Thank you. Oh, I picked him up. For a second. Is that a horse? Do I need horses? I sure do. So this game exists, by the way. Crank ass. Oh, I've really done it now. Can I not climb? There we go. I don't know, probably some crap. Cow in a tree? It's the will of God. Boom, done. Don't seem to be able to... Ah, snake! Okay, we gotta go up and over here. And then down, maybe? Whoa. This is what is in the cave. Snakes that maybe we can get? Apparently. Do you want to be raptured or not? Oh, I can just straight up climb with them. Yeah, it don't matter. I got my danger noodle on me. Mushroom, mushroom, badger, 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 snake. Don't cite the old texts to me, Logan. I was there when they were written. So, here we have Noah carrying 2 noodles. I assume one's a boy and one's a girl? I don't know. I don't know nothing. least I can jump holding these. That's good. Is this the Ark? Looks like it's not quite built yet. A pig, I think. Okay, I like a blinky arrow. Nope, no distinguishing characteristics, because they have cloacas, which means their reproductive bits are up on the inside. No, I think tree snakes and cave snakes being different would make sense in a functional game. Here we have Bible Adventures for the Nintendo Entertainment System. What even is this? Is this an animal? Is this hay? What is this? I just KO'd the pig. Okay. It's the pig anvil. Sorry, pig, but it's for your own good because we're all about to be raptured. Okay, and that's Wisdom Tree and Bible Adventures. So, we're getting late in the stream here. We gotta handle a little more business. And that is, what are we doing? What are we doing next week? Now, I asked anybody who was around yesterday, spin the wheel? Why? 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 Because we became affiliate? Spin it. Okay. Let me frickin' do the thing. Where is it? There we go. Spinwheel.app. Okay. So we're down to 7 on the wheel. We haven't replaced Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball yet. So we got Shaq Fu. We have, I'm shuddering at every one of these. We have Solstice on the NES. We have, good God, Rumble Roses Double X on the 360. I'm going to throw up as I type all of these. Beavis and Butthead on Genesis. Oh God, we have Karate Champ on the NES. 2 more. Hold on, we have a document for this. Hold on, I can do this. Where's my Google Drive? Yeah, I also felt as my fingers were hammering out Rumble Roses. I was like, oh God. Oh yeah, Breakdown and Crypt Killer. Oh my lord, I'm gonna have a breakdown. Breakdown and Crypt Killer. No gun. There's its settings. Slice repeat times 1. Add a source. No, I don't want to do that. Are you ready? No gambling on the spin. The chat has spoken. Beavis and Butthead on the Sega Genesis. Cool. That was a tease. It really was on the line. Do we want to call that one on the line and spin again, or do we want to roll with Beavis and Butthead? It's madness in the chat. Good God. Goodbye, wheel. See you never.
Just a good.
Holy Lord. Okay. Well, I think the chat more than anything has spoken, and we had confirmation from the wheel. It was a little, we had to grease up the wheel. So yeah, looks like Rumble Roses Double X on the Xbox 360 next week. We'll run it because that's what everybody wanted, and sure enough, if we didn't give it a practice spin and then hit the real thing. The chat is horny. Chat is horny. Now, if we haven't received a copyright strike from playing Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, we'll do that. How about that? Rumble Roses Double X it is. Thank you all very much for all of your support up to this point. Thank you to those of you who are subscribed, who pay us for this. Thank you to AJ for being a really proactive moderator. We appreciate you very much. Yes, you saw my spirit leave my body. Just what a ride this stream is every single time. 2 days in a row of it has actually been really enjoyable and exciting, even though I look like I'm dead. I had the final dregs of Sneak King into Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, so it did take a little bit of my soul away, but I had fun doing it. And that's what counts. What's the idea? Zeffy. Come on, we got an ad in 1 minute and 49 seconds. Who Framed Roger Rabbit next week? One of my favorite NES games, and on the general list of terrible NES games to anybody that has an opinion on the matter, and I say wrong, because Who Framed Roger Rabbit was made by the same two people, the Stamper Brothers, who made Donkey Kong Country, Killer Instinct, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Yeah! Call you Brandy, you're such a good wife. Whew. And I'll tell you what, we may even use Galoob's own Game Genie, completing the UK double. Galoob is a British company. It's from England. Rare, the Stamper Brothers, they're an English developer. They're from England. And we're going to need the Game Genie to beat the game in an hour. Ooh. Okay, that's what I can do. 30 seconds till an ad. I'm just going to be chatting when the ad kicks in. I'll talk to AJ and Logan, any other subs, and then we'll just end it. Because what an emotional day I have had. I really never thought we'd hit affiliate. Genuinely, I was like, well, it's going to be a small, cozy thing with 10 to 20 people max, and that's honestly fine, because I genuinely look forward to this. Logan. I think we're in ad time. It says ad starting soon, and I've lost control. We'll get to Star Tropics someday. As I told you, I have a working copy with a verified good battery. Thank you, AJ, as always, for the clipping. We appreciate you. And we're just gonna... We're just gonna... I'm getting all sorts of notifications I don't understand. We're gonna kick it. Oh, ads running. Ads are running. Okay. Thank you all so much to the subscribers. Oh, it's a banger. Brandy. Ugh. I am so amped up right now. I just want to put on some 70s bangers, some 70s gold, and just, it is approximately approaching my bedtime, so I probably have to go play some Hades 2 for the wife. But, woo! Thank you all again very much. I'm going to kick it over to the see you later screen. Just had a milk ad. Hold on, I'm back. No. I can't get sucked into anything else. I've used too much brain. Too much history came out. Too much weaving these things together, doing the Scooby-Doo thing, creating analogs in the story. The Olympics. What Olympics? Winter? Is it a Winter Olympics year? Summers of 14, 18, 22, 26. Yeah. It's so weird. In my brain, I did one of the more complicated Let's Plays I made was a 4-player 2012 Olympics on the 360. 4 separate cameras. It was wild. Ugh, FanDuel. There's no escaping gambling. Are you aware of predictive markets? That's gambling on real life, but not subject to gambling laws. We're in hell. This is turning into a dark, dark time. I was talking about, for those of you that weren't here on the Thursday stream, I was talking about getting the Atari up and running, testing out and cleaning all the old games. I'm surprised of like how much of this old equipment still works. But unfortunately, I set a stretch like financial goal of like raising like $70 so we can get a Retron 77, I think it is, 77, 76. It plays Atari games with an HDMI output so we can stream them. And I just want to point out something cool. This is my childhood Atari that I bought with my own money on clearance at Big Lots. And you can tell because it still has the Big Lots price tag on it. I bought that console, a bunch of 2600 games they were like $4 for $1. And then I bought a bunch of clearance 7800 games like, weird milk. Anime milk? Ooh, something Britney Spears music video. And then I bought a bunch of new in-box 7800 games for $2 for $1. Yes. And still have every single one of them. And as far as I can tell so far, every single one of them works. I've got 2 unlabeled cartridges, and then I think my copy of Buck Rogers for the 2600 doesn't work. Never has. A buff poodle. What is going on in Adland? Madness. Anyway. Woo, I feel like I just ran a marathon. Okay. Nothing good, AI. Yeah, AI is going on in Adland. So, for reals, we're leaving this time. So, from the NES Advantage and the real Ghostbusters Fright Flusher. Actually, John, I saw in the Discord, you got a new toilet. Does your new toilet lick your butthole clean like this 1990s toy does? Because if not, missed opportunity. Say goodnight, everybody. Good night, everybody. Right, sorry. See you Tuesday night at 6 o'clock for Cozy Stream. Zephrine, I believe, is continuing Wander Song. That should be 6 to 8. Fright Toilet sponsored. I mean, Bad Dragon didn't exist yet, but they probably got some ideas. So tune in for Zephy. And singing, and are we still with the pirates or past them? I think we are moving. We are at the end of Act 3, if I recall. Or don't. Zephy Bard time. Chat's into it. Bye.